The New York Jets have made it clear. Haason Reddick, come and get him. Hey, Monti Ossenfort, are you listening?
Come on, Monty already made some moves today, Johnny. And Drew Petzing talks about his struggling unit, the offense. What do we hear from the Cardinals OC? We're telling you next. PHNX Cardinals now.
Hey, welcome in live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. This fine program today on a Trade Tuesday, perhaps, brought to you by our friends at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use the bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. Choose your offer. Find out why. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with Bet365. Monti Ossenfort continues to be ordinary for the Arizona Cardinals as their front seven has been riddled with injury in combination with minimal talent. There is talent to be had. Well, Ossenfort, come call him. I'm Johnny Venerable. He's Brack, Damon, Dawg, behind the mic. What a show we have planned for you today, friends.
I mean, there couldn't be more disingenuous enthusiasm going out of the gates from Johnny Venerable. It's disgusting, but it's always great to see the crew in the chat. Didi, JB, Bar, what's going on? Ozzy always lighting it up. Neo Man, Jason, Nico, Sports Hero, Owen, Jess, the whole squad. You're here. You're up. You've shown up. You're here to have a good time, talk some cards, ball. Hopefully, we've got some good insight for you today. I think we do. We heard from Drew Petzing today, Johnny. Cardinals made some roster moves. I know you're excited about it. One in particular. Reinforcements. They're on their way, aren't they?
Stop, because people, that's disingenuous. I know you. That's disingenuous, but people, new people to the program may think you're being sincere. Right. That's not sincere, Brack. So first of all, today started. This is gonna be a gross show, by the way. So get your bibs on because there's gonna be a lot of puking for a lot of different reasons. So the Arizona
lady at the Cowboys game, and then there's the Lions fan just dancing around her, vomiting on the floor.
Yeah, that's gonna be us today. The Arizona Cardinals front seven continues to be on life support for this 2024 NFL season for a bunch of different reasons. Here's what you're not gonna hear on this show: excuse making as it relates to injuries. I don't do that. My co-host doesn't do that. We're keeping it real. The state of this roster is what it is. So I want to start with this. We woke up today. Davante Adams, he's no longer a Las Vegas Raider. He is a New York Jet. Now, why is that relevant for the Arizona Cardinals? Woody Johnson and company have come out and made it clear with new agent Drew Rosenhaus that Haason Reddick is available to seek a trade. Now, we all knew this already. I can tell you right now, definitively, the Cardinals called on Haason Reddick back in August. I don't know if they still have interest. I don't know what those conversations look like. But once upon a time, just like they called on Matt Judon, who went from New England to Atlanta, they called in some capacity about Haason Reddick. Now, the New York Jets have already made it clear they've been talking with teams. Diana Rossini of The Athletic, they are talking to teams, and he's got a short window to get something done. Obviously, the biggest holding pattern is he would need a new contract. Here's where I'm at with the Haason Reddick situation. I do not care that the Cardinals only have 2 wins. Just like I wouldn't care if they had 3 or 4 wins. This pass rush situation is so dire. I honestly don't think you can go on continuing this path. I think you have a fiscal responsibility if you're Monti Ossenfort when you invested a minimum in this position group over the last 2 years, and the return is minimum. They're 32nd. We're going to get to that in pass rush win weight, and it's been across the board since week 2. They've held that title. Haason Reddick is available. This podcast host, there's no excuse for the Cardinals to not be engaged with the New York Jets today. None. No excuse.
Well, unless Joe Douglas is digging in and trying to recoup, the draft picks that he sent Philly's way. And if he's only willing to negotiate, a day 2 pick in return for a guy that he paid a 2026 day 2 pick for. So I think that you got to keep that in consideration. I hear you as far as Haason Reddick. I think that he would absolutely help the team where they've got a dire need for it. But at the same time, I mean, it's got to be pennies on the dollar at this point.
I
Like
agree with that.
he's not playing for the Jets, and unfortunately, due to some key injuries around the league, and a report from Josina Anderson that if he's traded within the conference, the NFC, it's going to cost the Jets even more expensive, I guess, check to write to Philadelphia based on what they had, the criteria they had outlined back when they made the deal initially. So that there's just a couple hurdles. It's not as easy as like, okay, Woody Johnson has given his blessing and he's got a new agent, Drew Rosenhaus, and he's going to make, move heaven and earth and get Haason Reddick out of there. Like there's still a lot of ththings to figure out. And Monti Ossenfort, I think as far as the risk in weighing those risks, like you don't want to give up anything beyond, a day 3 pick. And, what are you willing to lock in Reddick? And where is he? Where is Haason Reddick? Like Haason Reddick and his new representation, like there has to be a steady dialogue between him and Jonathan Gannon. Of course, Monti Ossenfort, as far as that he's going to come in and he's going to be ready to play, that there's no shenanigans that we've seen, since he was traded to Gang Green earlier this offseason and hasn't even sniffed even a practice field like that. Where is his head at right now? Does he really want to play football this season? And does he want to try to make the best case for himself going into free agency? And is he going to reunite, willingly with his former defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon, and be ready to come play? Because otherwise, like, I don't want to be involved in it. Like, this is already a bit of a clown show, and you don't want to continue to add to that circus.
I'm going to tell you right now why that NFC AFC thing means nothing. I think it means absolutely nothing. The New York Jets are actively trying to make the playoffs, right? I know Woody Johnson's like hopeful that Reddick would somehow stick in New York. That doesn't seem like it's happening. Here's what opposing teams would need to offer in the AFC to get this done. Number one, a new contract, which the Cardinals could do, right? So let's just put that out there. The Cardinals, everybody wants to say wait until the offseason to sign somebody. I wish I had it. Somebody compiled a list. The offseason free agents look a lot like Haason Reddick, guys who are 28, 29, 30, 31. So you're going to pay those players in the offseason instead of paying a player now to help you win games right now. That's number one. So if you're an AFC team, the Jets are not trading Haason Reddick within their own division. So how many teams does that leave them with? If I'm doing the math off the top of my head, like 12 teams in the AFC. Well, how many of those teams are contending? Let's cut that in half and say 6 of those teams. How many of those teams are going to give Haason Reddick a contract? The Arizona Cardinals are in an advantageous position because I do believe, as you pointed out over the phone today, this is not a 2025 second rounder. This is in 2026, which in draft value terms means it's devalued by 1 round. So if you were to trade a pick, it would be a 2025 third round pick. Now, I'm not saying the Cardinals should do that, but I think to dismiss NFC teams is ridiculous because, again, who is trading for him?
I'm not dismissing it. I mean, it does make it a little bit more crowded as far as it's kind of drives up the market price where it should be. It should be bottom of the barrel. It should given the circumstances. And I think like the big thing at play here, and hopefully Joe Douglas, as far as his knee-jerk reacting owner and Woody Johnson, hopefully gave himself some goodwill by pulling off the trade for Devontae Adams today.
I think they're just trying to cut their losses. Doesn't it feel like that? And I certainly,
but I think the way
2026 for the Jets today, nobody.
But the way it's all about the optics here for Douglas. Like Douglas is on thin ice. Like,
well, let me help you with that because I think there's a situation. I'm being dead serious that it's been posed already that could help everybody in this situation. So real quick, I want to get to this graphic Damon made. Cardinals are 32nd in pass rush win rate per ESPN at 28%. The next closest is Jacksonville. I'm shocked anybody else is in the 20s. I think Jacksonville's 29-30. The Cardinals are dead last. They've been dead last. Like that's been established. They are, with a defensive head coach and Nick Rallis, who's I think a very bright defensive mind, last in pass rush win rate. I don't want to hear about injuries to B.J. Ojulari. Like they have edge rushers that they doubled down on in Zaven Collins and Dennis Gardeck. This is who they are. Okay, Damon. Now let's see my proposal here on PHNX Cardinals.
Oh, you got a trade?
This, I believe this would get it done. And
you fired up the Johnny Venerable trade machine?
It would open up. I want everybody to just take a deep breath before you see this, before you freak out. Because first of all, it would open up doors for the Arizona Cardinals to play a young player, for a player who's about to be a free agent, and it would allow the Jets to save face at a position that they do not have a ton of depth at. Damon, Dawg, let's see Johnny's proposed trade for Haason Reddick. The Cardinals would get Reddick. The Jets would receive Budda Baker. Budda Baker is on track to play 11 more games for this franchise. You want to do a retirement tour on another 6-7 win team, or are you going to trade him for a premium pass rusher that you then will extend? Then throw in 2 supplemental picks. These are interchangeable, a fifth next year and a fifth the year after that. But the marquee acquisition, it's Budda Baker. It allows you to play your best cover safety in Taylor Demerson right now, who deserves to play. So that's a plus. And then, of course, you get Reddick. I don't love the idea of trading Budda Baker. It's the only asset you have that is tradable outside of draft picks. What would you rather do? Trade a third for Haason Reddick or trade Budda Baker, who's about to be a free agent? Your defense with Budda Baker is already dismal. So, you have a safety who's ready to play now. They're not getting rid of Jalen Thompson. He's 26 years old. He's in the peak of his NFL career. He's under contract. You could argue he had a better season last year than Budda Baker. I would explore trading Budda. That would allow the Jets to save face. Oh, look, we got Budda Baker. That's terrific. 11 games.
Yeah.
Budda Baker. Everybody, just if you're against this trade, okay, everybody turn on the TV and watch Budda Baker for 11 more games. They're not re-signing him. He's not coming back. That's my. I guarantee you the Jets will take that. Absolutely.
I don't know why you're including 2 draft picks in that trade.
Well, they're throwaway. Whatever, make them whatever you want. A little sweetener on top. Do whatever you want. I don't care.
Let's go to the chat because it did. It incited some great reactions here. Damon, what have you seen so far? I mean, people were already
lots of hot and cold.
Yeah. There are some people who are in Johnny's corner here, and then there's I saw one guy say he went Simpsons comic book guy. He said worst trade ever. Let's see,
guys.
There's
that was pretty good.
Yeah, thank you. There's an Arizona Animal just saying no. You got saying I like this. Chase is just straight up gross. I just don't see the reason. Like I understand your logic in this, but then you are completely like giving in to a team with zero leverage in the New York Jets.
No, I'm ensuring that the deal gets done for Reddick to come to Arizona.
I think you're giving up quite a bit for a guy who hasn't shown up for work.
The Cardinals are in such a listen. I am only going off of face value of a situation. I didn't create this situation.
When you talk about optics, it would be a sting to the fan base, to the organization.
Bigger than losing games, bigger than being
within the locker room.
Defensively?
You're taking out a guy that week in and week out you rely upon for more than just on the playing field. And I understand.
What is that doing you right now?
Can I speak for a second? I know I've been giving you the floor here for your trade machine, and you're trading the heart and soul away from the defense. I just think that's going to be one that it's more than just player for player, and you're just it's the reality of the NFL business, and that's inevitable. It feels like it's going that way for a divorce between one of their franchise players and his run ending here in the desert. But to throw him in a trade, especially for a player to a team that has zero leverage, for a guy that hasn't seen the gridiron since last season, hasn't practiced, isn't in football shape, and isn't realistically, is he going to be able to help? When's he going to be able to help? I just think that would be a tough look for the Cardinals in Monti Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon. I understand what need it fills, and you're going for a premium position player for a non-premium position player.
You have the replacement ready to go.
You do. I still got to get him up to speed. I just don't see that as a realistic option.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of emotion going into this. We can have fun and be emotional and watch this team lose every Sunday and watch this team play borderline unwatchable front seven defense as they continue to lose key pieces from an offseason. this is only a byproduct of the lack of moves from Monti Ossenfort. Like that, I was banging the drum like everybody else before the year. Hey, make the playoffs. Budda Baker deserves it. James Conner deserves it. Make a playoff run. Guess what? They're doing the opposite. Haason Reddick is an investment and a bridge to your pass rush of the future because you have none currently.
Look, Miles does a great job in outlining this with his super chat. I appreciate it. $5 from Miles here. How would the locker room handle this trade? Trading the heartbeat of this franchise for a guy with offseason drama who hasn't played it down in months. I mean, that's it. That's how you have to view it from that. You have to be able to look at it from that standpoint. You really do.
I'm gonna look at it
you can't discount that.
I'm gonna look at it from the standpoint of what did we talk about on the postgame show at Gila River on Sunday? Like we were talking about, they need to make a move to instill a sense of urgency from the locker room. Like, and I get it. Like, this is not an indictment of Budda Baker, but like, Bo, you can't argue like he's a descending player, a declining player. He's an older player at a non-premium position, and they're not re-signing him. Like, do we just want to have a retirement tour? Like, Damon, am I crazy? Like, what is that worth it to everybody? Because that's exactly what you're getting now. You're going to get 11 more games of Budda Baker on a team that's not going to the postseason, on a team that's not improving defensively and will not. You have a chance. Let me just be clear. You have a chance to improve not only at edge rusher, which is the bare minimum. You're at a 0 right now. Okay. And then watch Taylor Demerson in the preseason, watch him in limited capacity. He is going to start for this team next year. Accelerate that. Put him out there. Like you guys it's the same situation that we face with Larry Fitzgerald, where a lot of people are just like, what? We're just paying older players. But here's the difference. Jonathan Gannon and Monti Ossenfort acquired Budda Baker when they took over this job, and they made it work last year. And it's not. This is not a winning situation.
They're not the old married couple where they're just roommates and they're coexisting in the same like dwelling. Like Budda Baker still has a very large role as far as what goes on in the locker room, on the practice field, in helping this team, even just where they are right now. Like, some of the little success, like he deserves respect, and it's not going to show up in the box score, and it's not going to show up. It's where people start to kind of look at like, okay, he's expendable because of all these different variables, but at the same time, like you set yourself up for even more criticism from the people that really do matter, like decision makers around the league, players that are going to maybe consider coming to Arizona as free agents, or players that are, under contract right now and then will be up for extensions, and viewing how they handle players that are, either on the decline or getting up there.
He requested a trade last offseason. Do we not forget about that? He publicly went out and asked for
that, but he's done a very good job, unlike, one of his predecessors in Patrick Peterson, and regaining the goodwill and the trust of his at the time new coaching staff. I'm going to take this out of the equation, out of the trade. Like, I'm with you. Like, if you can find a way where you can, and Haason Reddick is somehow at a bargain bin price, and you can really play to the Jets not having any leverage and giving a day 3 pick for him, then you pull the trade off. But I think this one, your trade proposal with Budda Baker, it doesn't work at this point.
We are on pace right now with how this season is going, for better or worse, for one of the 2 starting safeties right now to be sitting the last quarter of the season for Taylor Demerson. If you do not think that I can't wait to do shows with you around Thanksgiving until the end of the year, because we both know what's happening. Yeah. When they are struggling defensively still.
You can't hold your trade proposal over my head like, oh, well, they should be like it's an actual thing that could happen.
I don't understand the benefit of status quo.
You can't sit there and be like, oh, well, Rabbit's playing. Remember when I said they should trade Budda for Haason Reddick? I mean, like, I just don't think we're that close to this even being anywhere close to a reality.
I wonder how many of the people in the chat that are so anti-trading Budda are also the people that are saying that we're a draft and develop franchise and that going out and getting a pass rusher is not like what we should do, because wouldn't playing Rabbit more being that draft and develop that we're talking about here? So it almost benefits in that regard as well.
And I don't disagree with that, but at the same time, like when you're looking at a team in the Jets and you're about to give somebody that brings currently value to your team, and trade it for somebody that they can't even get to show up. And
well, they want a contract. I mean, welcome to the NFL. They want to be paid. Budda Baker wanted a contract. The Cardinals gave him a little bit more money. Monti Ossenfort gave him a little bit more money. He's getting paid that way.
It was nothing.
Let me just say this. Let me ask you this. They lose this week, right?
Yeah.
Regardless if this happens or not. Like, I think there's a chance Budda Baker gets traded regardless. Forward pick. And are people in the chat going to be saying, oh, I love this 5th rounder that they got from, Timbuktu in the AFC over Haason Reddick? I'm trying to sell high on a player now to help this team now so this team is watchable defensively. I don't want to wait 3 weeks before the trade deadline or whenever it is and sell Budda Baker for a draft pick that may or may not come to fruition. I want a head start on a pass rush that is the worst in the NFL, and you could make an argument the worst pass rush off the edge in modern NFL history. When you take last year and this year into an account, it is an unwatchable unit. I'm trying to be proactive here.
I understand, buddy. I understand where you're coming from the entire way.
Listen, I know it may not be super realistic, but it's the only position. Can you not argue that they have a surplus of, and they have somebody waiting in the wings that's going to play? He's going to play.
Chase, I'm not opposed to trading Budda. We aren't winning with him. I don't think Budda plus 2 draft picks is worth anyone. And I agree with that. We've got Coach Stark Home saying, Bo, I love you. Always wanting to do everything on the cheap is what Monti got us in this position. Look, you're 2-4. And what's the realistic timeline for Haason Reddick? I'm going to emphasize this. Hasn't done anything that's been near a football field since last season. So you're saying, well, what if they lose Sunday or Monday? Haason Reddick's not playing Monday if they pull off a trade 2 minutes ago. He's not going to be available. So the reality of you dropping to 2-5. So what's the point of bringing Haason Reddick in week 8 for a team that's 3 games under 500?
Here's the point. It's a great question. And I see this on Twitter a lot. So you're going to look your fan base in the eye the second year of this Ossenfort Gannon regime and say, hey guys, we tried 7 games in. We had some injuries. It's not going to work out this year. We'll see everybody in 2025. That's the message you're sending.
No, it's not.
It 100% is. You are quitting to some degree. I posted this on Twitter. Ossenfort has not made an outside acquisition of note since May 10th when he signed Zay Jones to a 1-year deal. He went all of June without a transaction, and he's been dumpster diving off of waiver wires and practice squads since July. This is not a Steve Keim problem anymore. I don't want to hear about that. We've talked about it ad nauseum. He's got his fingerprints all over this roster. Bo, they are last in pass rush win rate, and they are 3rd to last against the run. We got clips of Nick Riles today, poor guy, having a few questions about why the team can't stop the run. Well, I know why. Look at the players that they added. Not good enough. Look at the players that they didn't add, succeeding elsewhere. This defensive front 7, and you cannot deny this. We've talked about it for 6 months, was set up to fail. It was set up to fail. They were not aggressive enough.
You're reshuffling the furniture on the Titanic with this move. I understand it gives you somebody a viable option down the line this season at some point, but it's not going to be a cure-all. I mean, I'm more interested to see Darius Robinson come back.
When's that happening?
I mean, yeah, that's a good question. There's a $20 super chat from our friend Reezy Baby. Is he getting in on the conversation that's hot debate? Yeah, here we go. Reezy Baby, $20. Our defense is what we need it to be when the offense is sustaining drives. When we stack 3 and outs, Washington, Green Bay, the unit gets gassed. Things go downhill. 75% of the reason we're 2-4 is the offensive scheme and play calling.
I don't disagree with that. Here's what I will say, Reezy Baby. We have not seen this team, save for San Francisco, where they got out of there by the skin of their teeth, finish a game, with their defense playing good football in the 4th quarter, when the game is a 1-possession game. We've seen a blowout, we've seen a close win, and we've seen 2 blowouts on the opposite side. And then we saw they couldn't stop Josh Allen week 1 because of their pass rush. So again, this is not a cure-all. By the way, I see a lot of Max Crosby in the chat. Let me tell you why, unlike Haason Reddick, I don't think that's realistic. because unlike Haason Reddick, the capital that you would need to give up for Max Crosby are multiple first-round picks. The Cardinals are not going to do that. Like, I know unequivocally that's not how Ossenfort wants the team build, and I'm actually okay with that. Crosby's an older player. Like, Steve Keim, give him credit, stole Chandler Jones for a second rounder because Chandler Jones went into a police station like buck naked and was, on some substances, and Bill Belichick just wanted to be done with him. Like, he bought low on Chandler Jones. Max Crosby's value has never been higher. So whereas Haason Reddick, like, listen, I'm not saying my trade is foolproof, but to not even be in on the conversation is irresponsible for Monti Ossenfort. Just like it was irresponsible to trot out this unit to begin this year.
I actually would take Max Crosby. Like, he's young, he's under control.
You're going to trade
Max Crosby is better than any of the pass rushers in this year's draft.
Oh my God.
He's a proven commodity. Like, why would you be anti that and then pro Haason Reddick at 29?
Number one, you're giving Crosby more money.
6 months.
Well, because you're going to have to give up multiple first round. I think you have to give up 2 first-round picks. You're going to do that?
If that's the cost, then yeah. But I mean, if it's the cost of a first and then he's controllable, I mean, you have to weigh that. I
think that's an off-season move regardless. Like, the Cardinals.
Unfortunately, I think that this is going to be an off-season fix. Like, trying to desperation moves in October to try to save face in the season where you did, like, and I'm going to admit this, like, you had several like big missteps as far as building this thing in the offseason that you need to prove that you learned from those mistakes. But trying to put a Band-Aid over this by going out and giving up assets for a guy that's 29, hasn't been around a team facility since last season, I don't think that's the solution at any point. We got a poll up there. Damon Dawg put it up there. What is it?
It's really, really close. I asked, would you do Johnny's trade proposal of Budda and 2/5 for Haason Reddick? And 54% of the chat is saying no right now.
That's low, in my opinion.
Hey, you know what? Enjoy the Budda Baker retirement tour for the next 11 games when this team inevitably finishes bottom third in defense again. I'm so glad we have these memories together of losing football with aging players. Let's just do that. Let's get the walkers out. Let's go to the retirement home. Let's have the slow parade down Main Street.
Haason Reddick is older than Budda Baker. Haason Reddick is older than Budda Baker.
Remember 2017? Remember the Pro Bowls? No, here's what I remember. They're 6-30 in their last 36 games. Now, that's not Budda Baker's fault. Be, for once in your franchise's tenure, proactive. Be a proactive, forward-thinking franchise. You want to tout draft and development? Get Taylor Demerson on the field. Help this defense now. Take an asset and turn it into a different asset to help you. We could not be scraping, and I want to pivot to this, the bottom of the barrel more than this defensive line. They lost Bilal Nichols today. According to Adam Schefter, he's gone for the year. So Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols, who are, let's be fair, underwhelming to start with, are out for the season now. By the way, you lost Darius Robinson. No end in sight for when he's going to play. Ojulari tore his ACL. Like, you do not have NFL caliber players to finish the season, in my opinion. Like, it's just not. How do you expect to compete with that? Why not take an asset and turn it into a different asset? I don't like the locker room. You're not winning games with this current group.
Can you rehash that again one more time? The 4 players that you mentioned.
Bilal Nichols gone, Justin Jones gone, Darius Robinson's hurt, and B.J. Ojulari's out for the year. How many of those guys are proven like Haason Reddick? Darius Robinson's going to come back and be a good player. Haason Reddick had 17 sacks for Jonathan Gannon 2 years ago.
2 years ago. 11 sacks last year. How many sacks does he have this season? Oh, he hasn't been around the facility.
Oh, yeah, he just lost it.
He's 30 years old.
He's basically 30 years old. Let's get him in the USFL.
He's the savior. He's going to probably come in, pull a calf, and be done. And you'll be screaming again.
That you want to break down this big free agent move? They literally signed a guy who has no career sacks, who was barfing in a preseason game last year. Bo had to embed the tweet. He's barfing in a preseason. Those are their options. Julian Okora that they got, who has no career sacks and barf bag in August last year. That's what they're trotting out for their fans.
They just signed a guy that I think Damon is trying to woo as far as in his NCAA college football recruiting. portal right now. He's trying to get Ronnie Perkins, who's a real guy that they signed.
EA creative player.
Yeah, that's right. And I look up old Ronnie Perkins, former 3rd-round pick from the Patriots, just to see if there's any film out there. And the only thing that pops up is he pukes right pre-snap and then takes down the ball carrier, which is a tremendous just sign of grit, guys. I mean, I don't think the Cardinals had a guy on their roster that could probably do that. So I'm excited about good old Ronnie Perkins joining the practice squad. Reinforcements are here. You've been waiting a long time. They finally showed up in the form of old Ron Perkins.
Damon, the shilling has never been shilled harder than it is today. Do you agree with that? I have never been more disgusted by my co-host today trying to make sense of this disaster that, by the way, if you're new here, welcome, friends. Drop a like on this video. We got almost 1,000 people watching. This is the most predictable thing we've ever seen. I could not tell you how predictable this was. I don't want to hear excuses today. I want to hear people own up to this.
You say predictable, but they lost all 4 guys that they were going to rely upon in their front 7.
How many of those guys were proven guys, though? Come on.
I mean, as far as the defensive linemen and Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols, and you and I, when we broke down the free agent sign,
yeah,
and it was, these are just going to be steady NFL caliber defensive linemen. They're not going to be game wreckers at any point, but they elevated the floor that was in the basement last season.
We thought.
Well, and you brought in Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones, and both of them had their own respective consecutive games played streak, which they were just looking for guys that they thought they could rely upon health-wise. And Justin Jones played 39 games before bowing out with an injury, tricep injury in week 3, and now Bilal Nichols, after playing 80-plus games in a row, is done for the season per Adam Schefter, and now is officially on the IR for the Cardinals. I mean, and then you haven't even seen Darius Robinson play down, and then you mentioned BJ Ojulari goes down early in training camp. It's brutal luck. I mean, you hear Nick Rollis today. He says you just have to really rely on the next man up thing, and it's just the only thing you can do at this level. And nobody's using it as an excuse, but
I mean, you're using luck here.
But can I say that 4 guys they were going to rely upon are gone? Can you not say that, or you just say, "Well, just we're moving forward here"?
Bilal Nichols has been playing. You know, anybody want to take a guess? Bilal Nichols' PFF grade? It's like the worst on the team. It's 39.6. Guess what they couldn't do with Bilal Nichols? Stop the run. Oh no, how are they going to survive? Justin Jones also terrible at 30. They made no impact while they were healthy. It stinks that they're hurt. I don't ever want to see players get hurt. I'm not rooting for injuries here, but let's not pretend like, hey, Aiden Hutchinson broke his leg. He was content. Bilal Nichols was just a pleasant surprise. If you compare him on the barometer of what Mac Wilson is providing, they are huge disappointments. So yes, you can be disappointed that they're gone. They weren't. What were you getting from them? You weren't getting anything from them.
You can go off.
You could fill out a lineup card. Is that what you got?
I mean, that's more than you could do before that.
Sure.
I mean, think about the defensive line before this. It was Lecky Fotu and Rashard Lawrence, guys who were cut quickly. I mean, Fotu hung around last season.
You've got poor Nick Rollis having to sit up there and field questions from the media, talking about we got to really stop the run, and it's just
we have to do better. Yeah, that's what he said.
How is that? How are you doing that? How is that going to happen with the players that you have? With the players that you had? You got Seattle out here. Give them credit.
Well, there's an expectation of a pair of top 50 picks that you had that you don't have.
Darius is going to play this year, but for anybody to think Darius is going to come off the injury table and just fix all these issues, the Cardinals' defensive line from end to end is the worst in the NFL, from edge rusher to edge rusher and the 2 D tackles in between. Guess what? It was the same case last year. The players that, fair or not, and you admit this, the players that they gambled on were busts. They are not producing. And then the players that they drafted are either not ready to produce or also hurt. So I just, nobody gives Steve Keim grace when Jonathan Cooper blows out his leg is never the same. We call that a bust, right? You're a bust. The moves that they made to fortify their defensive line did not work out, and it's going to continue to cost them games this year.
It's somewhat hard to say, but the $17 million that you were paying Justin Jones and Ball Nichols combined this year. I'm not sure that you're getting $17 million worth of production.
Well, and I
from
think
those
they
two
knew
players.
that, though. I mean, I think that they knew that they were overpaying those guys just in order to sign them to be able to raise the talent level.
Then that's a failure to me. I think that.
But where do you go?
Be,
where do you turn to free agency wise?
Come on,
I
the
shoot higher than
Jags
guys
are in
that are
free agent discussions with like Calvin Ridley. Can we not do this? Or the Titans? Bad teams get good players all the time. You got to pay guys. The Cardinals have been signing good free agents for years. It hasn't worked out in a lot of cases. They got J.J. Watt to come here. If you offer premium free agents the most money as it relates to quality of life, you guess what? Those players are going to sign with you. I don't want to give the Cardinals an out like, hey, the Cardinals have been bad, so they're trying to sign mid-tier free agents, and we should just all give them grace. It's like, no, they just signed the wrong guys.
Let's keep it going with the super chats. Some good vibes here. Reezy baby, $5. We're having a fun. This is all debate. Like if you don't have an opinion on this, then like this is a fun place to be opinionated and be on any side of this. Reezy baby, $5. If Drew Terrell is the pass game coordinator, is he more to blame for the offense than Petzing? The only way we move the ball is K1 on rollouts.
Drew calls the plays. This is Drew Petzing's baby. We got good stuff from Drew Petzing. We got to get to.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on that? Did I miss anything on this pass rush situation on this D line? Like Reddick, I think Reddick will be traded. Okay, I will be disappointed if he's not traded to the Cardinals. I'm putting that out there. If the Cardinals are not in the mix to trade, I met Jordan Schultz has been on the show before, by the way.
Yeah,
I was blowing up Jordan on Twitter today. He's Mr. Big Time now. I give him credit.
Yeah.
He's may or may not be ghosting your boy. Just
lost
to kind of see. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if Haason Reddick is traded, and especially for compensation that isn't significant, I think we have the right to be critical. Like what's the plan for the defensive line the rest of the year? Like lay it out for me, Bo. Like what do you think they're planning on doing?
Hopefully at some point within the next 2 weeks, they're gonna activate Darius Robinson. He gets up to a full clean bill of health. And then you couple him with Adante Stills, you got Carice Tunga, Roy Lopez, and now you got to hope that there aren't going to be any more injuries. I mean, that's the reality of it. I mean, you had no margin for error before, and you've got even less of it going forward. But you've got some young players that are going to have to step up and play big boy football here earlier than anticipated.
Everybody drop a like. We got 910 watching live. Everybody who's on the Twitter streets, jump over to YouTube, drop a like, drop a comment, let your voice be heard, vote for me in the poll. Please do that.
What is the poll at right now?
The poll is at 58% no at this point, 188 votes in.
I don't like how that's trending.
For me. Still a little low.
Hey, you know what? Go get your Budda jersey. Everybody hold it real tight and enjoy this time. Just enjoy it. Keep losing games. I
love that Johnny has created a scenario where it's like you either trade Budda right now for Haason Reddick or you disagree that like he's got a few, like I'm hanging on to like old memories and it's just all I can't get over.
Your
Budda
Wolverine. Looking at the
picture. I'm just looking at the photo in my camp log cabin, just there and just reliving some great Budda memories.
We purge a lot in the Venerable house. We donate a lot. Shameless plug, but hey, you know what?
I just say, hey son, is this your favorite toy? Okay, let's get this to Goodwill right now. The toys are for childish things. Let's go.
I can't wait. I can't wait for that game in week 15 that the Cardinals inevitably can't win because of their defense. But Budda has 8 tackles. I can't wait to look at that box score and have reminders of that for the next 5 years. Awesome. I'm trying to win games.
I can't believe you're putting yourself in for Haason Reddick, who can I say this again? Hasn't shown up to work.
I don't care about that. That doesn't bother. Bo, if the situation
and you're like trade Budda Baker for him, and if you don't, you're showing no signs of urgency. Like that's not the debate here.
Oh my God. They have no edge pressure in a league where if you have no edge pressure, you are dead. They are dead at edge rusher. It's a dead end.
I'll tell you what,
back there flipping lattes for himself.
Rush 4, and I mean, what's the Packers pass rush win late this year?
No, we're not going to compare anybody to the Cardinals because the Cardinals are last.
We can't do anything that's going to weaken Johnny's argument.
They have been last. They have a safety who is ready to play. Guess what? If they had an edge rusher who was ready to play, we'd be screaming, get Gardeck or get Zaven Collins out of there and play the young player. You're going to sit there and tell me that Budda Baker's play has been all worldly this year? You can't part with him?
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, what are you saying then? It would do too much to the locker room?
It would be a bad precedent for a guy that after he got over his very public trade request when the new regime was brought in, like he was able to kind of get back on track with it and has been the player that he was before that.
That's where I agree with you. It's not a good precedent, but who set this initial precedent of being dismal up front? And you're cleaning, Ossenfort's cleaning up his own mistake.
There are guys that you make exceptions for, right, in this league. People, all 32 teams are guilty of it. But a guy who's 30 years old and hasn't been,
I think we've seen pass rushers age pretty well. Matthew Judon got dealt for a third, and he's 31 years old.
Gonna go pick him up.
They tried to.
No,
I like this. I like this super chat. $30. Steven Jackson. Thank you so much for your support, my friend. Gotta agree with Johnny here. Smart. I'm tired of watching losses. There's no way Reddick makes this team worse. He doesn't. He makes it infinitely better. He gives this team a much better chance of winning than Budda. It comes down to here's what I don't care about. I'm sorry, and this is going to sound harsh. I don't care about locker room vibes on losing teams. Maybe your vibe needs a shakeup. Yeah. When you've gotten blown out twice in 3 weeks, we can't mess with the vibes on this team. No, I think you might need a shakeup. I think maybe go get better players, and then let your younger players who aren't playing, give them an opportunity.
Yeah,
I don't think Budda is going to care if he goes to New York and with Aaron Rodgers on that team, they're going to be on national TV every other week. Budda Baker will be fine. And then he hits free agency. Probably helps himself playing with a better defense with the Jets. In my opinion, everybody wins because then you go look at Taylor Demerson and said, this is your opportunity. We freed up a spot for you to come in here. You've earned it. You look sensational in your limited opportunities here. Everybody's clutching their pearls over this situation. They are on pace to lose again 10 plus games with this current setup.
Yeah.
Everybody's status quo.
I'm sure he'll look at it from a glass half full approach. He'd be like, you know what? Yeah, they're giving me a good chance. This team that I'm going from is one of the worst defenses in the league. And they're saying, well, we can trade you for another player because we don't value you. We're just going to trade you.
I don't think Budda would care at all. I think Budda would be
enduring all those losing seasons. Yeah, he wouldn't care. He wouldn't take it personally.
I don't think so.
Yes, he would. Absolutely.
I bet he'd say something, but at the end of the day, he'd probably be happier.
He'd be furious. Everything he's done. Everything he's done for this organization, he'd be furious.
I like the dichotomy of this chat right now. You have some people, half the people going, Johnny's owning Bo right now, and then the other half the people who are just furious at Johnny. Can we trade him off of this team?
I love you all. Even the people that are bashing me.
Don't say that to me.
I love you all.
No.
It's 43 minutes. We haven't done that read. We got, listen, if you're fired up, wait till you hear from Drew Petzing right around the corner here on PHNX Cardinals. Can you get odds on Haason Reddick's next team? Not yet, but keep it refreshed on Bet365. Never ordinary. Arizona Cardinals, a 2.5-point home dog against the Los Angeles Chargers on Monday Night Football. You can bet on that and more. With 90 million users worldwide, we've got live streams, 780,000 events each year. Bet365 offers the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game sports betting across 78 sports. Unbelievable. Sign up today. Use the bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. Deposit just $10 and choose between the bet and get offer. When you place a 5-spot or more, you get $200 in bonus bets or the first bet safety net offer by placing a bet up to $1,000. And if your qualifying bet loses, you receive a matched refund in bonus bets. But you got to download the Bet365 app now. Bonus code PHNX365. Tell them Johnny and Bo sent you. When you sign up right now, it's never ordinary with our friends at Bet365. You got to be 21 years and older, physically located here in the great state of Arizona. If you were someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text NEXT STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov, Bo, for more information.
I heard Johnny wanted to trade in a brand new 2024 Sanderson Ford F-150 for a car that hasn't run for a year, an entire year's worth of time. And it's been broken down on the side of the road. And he said, hey, that seems like a good trade to me.
Don't make me turn on Sanderson.
The F-150 is, of course, the heart and soul of what's coming out of Sanderson Ford and their beautiful dealership. 65 glorious acres out there in the West Valley. Got to check them out. It's the America's largest dealership in the nation that's selling Fords. Check and choose Sanderson Ford. Get the new 24 F-150 trucks for 3.9 APR financing for 60 months plus $1,000 cash back for your trade-in for your Ram truck, in addition to $2,000 cash back. Or you got the electric Mach-E. You get 1.9 financing for 72 months plus $500 cash back. You got the offers OAC from Ford Credit that expire on Halloween. That's October 31st. We love working with Sanderson Ford. They are entrenched in the Valley, in the community, giving back however they can do it. And also they're helping celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month with Dia de los Muertos inspired trunk or treat at Sanderson Ford, October 19th. That's this week. See dealership for details.
We go from personnel issues to potentially coaching issues. The Arizona Cardinals offensive coordinator, Drew Petzing, met with the media today and took a sea of questions from my co-host, among many other media members in the greater Phoenix area, specifically talking about what's going on and what's wrong with the Cardinals offense that Bo has averaged 16 points per game the last month. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, talking about some of the line of questioning there. I think our beat reporter, Craig Morgan, had a couple of good questions in a row that Drew gave some answers to. And one of them, I think he took some accountability for the offensive struggles and started with himself as far as some of the reasons for their slump.
I think it's been a little inconsistent. I think that's the key is, I'm always going to say my play calling is how we roll as an offense. So when we're rolling, I take a lot of pride in that. I also think that I got to give a lot of that credit to the players and their execution. And when we're not, I got to look at myself and say, what can I do better? So I think, as you look throughout our first, 6 games now, I think we got to clean up the inconsistency, and that starts with me as a play call. Yes and no. I mean, I'd like every play to work. That's certainly one of my goals. But, I think at the end of the day, I think there's definitely areas where I feel like, hey, I could be a little bit better here, a little bit more consistent there, for the most part, yeah. Can you provide it?
Listen, I posted this on Twitter. Like, I like those answers. Like, they don't mean much come Monday if they're not producing, but, like, that's what you want to hear. Like, there's accountability in his voice.
Yeah.
Probably been chewed out by his head coach. He's never called plays before. And I like Drew a lot. First of all, I like him as a person. He seems like a good, humble guy. And I thought he did a good job last year. Do I think he's doing a good job right now? No, but I'm not going to condemn a guy. Like, I think he's got 11 games to prove to me and everybody else, like, they can get it together and they can get it working. But if he doesn't, then he shouldn't be the offensive coordinator anymore. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I think that with his comments, he realizes that this is some of the processes that have been in place, or what he felt was the right direction as far as the play calling. It's not working. He's reached a dead end, and hopefully that comes and inspires some change as far as how he approaches it.
Right.
If you had any questions about that, we took a look at the first 6 games last year, where the quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals was Joshua Dobbs. And then, of course, Kyler Murray getting a full offseason of time to gear up and even get more acquainted with Drew Petzing's offense that he played in 8 games last year. And if you look at the stats here, Damon put together a nice little graphic of the 2023 Cardinals offense versus the 2024 Cardinals offense through 6 games. And there's some eerie numbers here. The yards per game, Johnny, are basically identical at 331 to 332. So just a yard difference. Yards per play, about 0.5 difference. They're averaging 5.8 yards per play versus 5.3 yards per play. I think you still want to see that uptick. The pass yards with Joshua Dobbs was actually up at 198.7 to Kyler Murray's 187. They're down. And then you see a big drop off as far as the red zone efficiency. You had Dobbs and crew going and operating at a high level. As we remember, through those first couple games, they were money in the red zone at 78.6%. Where Kyler and crew, it certainly didn't help with some of the turnovers on Sunday, 58.8% red zone efficiency. And then just the offense's points per game, nearly identical, just under a point differential. It's 20.67 versus 19.8 in 2024. So, it's not great that Josh Dobbs, coming off from the Cleveland Browns with 2 weeks to prepare for the season opener, and that offense was putting up similar numbers to Kyler Murray with the inclusion of Marvin Harrison Jr. and some players that are supposed to take a big jump in year 2 in this offense, that they're nearly identical.
Yeah, I'm going to do my best Ronnie Perkins and throw up off screen here looking at those numbers. That also doesn't include the ascension of Trey McBride, because they were still trotting out Zach Ertz's corpse to begin last season. Trey McBride didn't really have a hold of that job until about Halloween. And so we had to watch Zach Ertz like drop touchdown passes. Now, where I'll give Kyler the edge is Dobbs would turn the ball over. Like we saw, he had interceptions, he would fumbles. I think the offensive line, maybe not from a run blocking standpoint, I think they're doing better. Pass protection, I think Kyler Murray has a better feel in the pocket. Those are unacceptable numbers. Just at the end of the day, like, you need your passing yardage to go up about 50 to 75 yards. Your red zone efficiency is a joke. I mean, where is that? You've got James Conner. You ought to be able to run the ball with Kyler Murray and James Conner in the red zone. Like, and up until this week, you didn't really suffer a bunch of self-inflicted penalties and wounds. Like, this is the biggest indictment of Drew Petzing right now. It's the stuff they want to clean up. Like, save for last week, they are not turning the ball over. They're not committing penalties, and they're not surrendering sacks and negative plays. So that should tell you everything you need to know. Like, it is the schematics of what they're doing. They're either too complicated for Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kyler Murray and company. He's just not pressing the right buttons. Like, as cliche as mundane Johnny cliche as you want to sound with that. Like, your play calls are just not executing well enough for you to score points. Like, what you're supposed to be doing. I'm not a professional play caller. Like, I can't fix this. You can't fix this. Damon can't fix this. Whatever you're doing, though, is incorrect. Like, all your instincts right now are the opposite of what should be working.
Yeah.
Where you look around the league and it's like Brian Daboll can get more out of Daniel Jones and Malik Neighbors. That's a joke.
Yeah. Well, I see Brian Baldinger. We'll talk to Baldy later this week, and he's highlighting, where the Arizona Cardinals found a few successes on Sunday, and it was simplifying things. And where was the ball going? 85. It was going to Trey McBride. And I thought our guy Jody Ayler over at Fox Sports 910 had a good segment this morning saying, Trey McBride, if you run the offense through him, that's probably your way out of this, because it was the Cardinals' real way out of it last year. Like, when you look at these numbers, like, they went into a brutal slump between game 6 and the last game and through, the last game of Dobbs and, of course, Clayton Tune through week 9. Like, the next 3 weeks were brutal. And then Kyler came back in week 10, and then they added, a couple more points per game. And it was Kyler leaning on Trey McBride the entire way, because he didn't really have the other playmakers necessary. I know that Michael Wilson was dealing with a neck and shoulder injury, and they were building their rapport. I think you start to go to, obviously, like, they're never going to get, like, as much as we're pleading for change in the offense, there's still going to be a team that establishes run, and they're going to get James Conner going. And then Trey McBride won, and then start to look at, who's going to be getting open between Michael Wilson and then, get Marvin Harrison Jr. up to speed. Like, I know people want to see Marvin Harrison Jr. go out there and make big play after big play, but out of necessity, I think that, McBride and crew is the first place you look to simplify things, to get back on track, sustain drives, put up points.
Yeah, it has to be organic, right? I mean, like, clearly they tried to force Marvin the ball, and what they're trying to do is not working. So, like, you almost have to, and I think this is going to be the case. I don't know what Marvin's status is this week. Like, I don't expect him to play. That's just my opinion. Like, you almost have to, like, go back to basics with this, like, and feature your most proven commodity under Drew Petzing. But I mean, this is a week to week thing, because all we saw in this offseason, highlights of what? Kyler Murray working out with Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr. being the most pro-ready prospect of 10 plus years of NFL caliber receivers. Like, we got 1,000 people watching. The 3 of us were at the combine when Marvin Harrison Jr. did not show up for his presser. He didn't do any on-field workouts. And we were told multiple times, he is getting ready for the NFL season and the rigors that comes with that. And it was probably a handshake agreement after the combine, his interview with the Cardinals, he was going to be an Arizona Cardinal, pending anything unforeseen. You've had an 8-month head start, Drew Petzing, and you can't figure out a way to get this guy easy targets in an NFL game against some of these against Washington's defense, Drew. I'm sorry. Like I'm glad he's not making excuses. He's doubling down on where he needs to come up, the shortcomings. That's great. But if we're sitting here in mid-November and Marvin Harrison Jr. is just like a middling production receiver, I cannot trust Drew Petzing to have premium draft picks, premium playmakers, and trust that he's going to use them correctly. Like Tip Ryman, I mean, I'm sure he was a big advocate for that pick. Got to have 3 tight ends in this 12-13 personnel. I love Trey Benson. Where's the production there? Like, the only thing that's working right now, Kyler Murray to some degree, Michael Wilson, Trey McBride. That's it. So to your point, Bo, is probably just double down on what's working until you can figure the other stuff out.
Right. And it's got to be quality over quantity, right? I mean, you tried the reverse early on, and you're not seeing it's not a high percentage play for this offense. I mean, it's yielded some results, especially as talking to Damon before the show, yielded results in the red zone. I think that's where Marv is money for you right now, just because of his size, his athleticism, and it's already proven to be, even on 4th down, you're finding Marvin Harrison Jr. and he's making that big play that you need. But as far as where you can really try to get back on track is feeding those guys. And like we saw with Michael Wilson, and I think it's similar. It's not the same. Like Michael Wilson was a 3rd-round pick that struggled to stay healthy throughout his college career, didn't have anything that rivaled anything close to Marvin Harrison Jr., but he went through the struggles as far as developing that rapport early on with Kyler Murray. Let's say 6 games it took him to kind of get on the same page with Kyler, and then it clicked in Philly, like in the middle of the game, and then they parlayed that into a strong regular season finale against Seattle. We're right around that, and Marv, dealing with his own injuries like Mike did last year with the concussion. But I think if we get much further beyond this and things aren't clicking, then we got to continue to ask questions. What's going on?
At least, though, we can sit here with hope that it gets figured out.
Yeah,
because they have the personnel. Like, that's what I keep coming back to. Eventually, by hook or by crook, like they got to figure it out. That I feel hopelessness defensively because of the product and the personnel. And I actually feel bad because I think Nick Rallis is doing a better job than Drew Petzing this year. Like, I don't even know if that can be disputed. Like what Nick Rallis did to Brock Purdy, what he did to Matthew Stafford, what he did to Jared Goff in the second half. Look what Goff just did to the Dallas Cowboys. And subsequently, Mike Zimmer, Gannon's one of his mentors. They run the same defense. Like, I think Nick Rallis deserves infinite praise. I know they're super high on him, but he's going into a gunfight with a little BB gun or, a little pebble. Like, I feel like the Cardinals, to me, at the end of the day, Drew Petzing probably is the key to turning the season around. And so you got to take him at face value right now.
Better offensive performance. I mean, when you look at especially the lopsided losses, you give up 40 plus to Cliff and crew, and are you going to be able, even with a good offensive performance, hanging that? But throughout, it changes. If you just stay on the field and you get points, it puts your defense in a way better position. Like you saw it all Green Bay game, the way that the Cardinals were just doing their defense a complete disservice. 3 out of the first 4 drives of the game were 3 and out, and putting that defense right back out on that field. And most of the time it was in good field position. And it was a mess. It was an absolute mess. So you play better offensive football. You get your strength back into a strength, and it will completely change the way things are trending now and to start to trend them in the right direction.
Do we get to this Marv clip from Drew Petzing? I don't think we've gotten to this one.
Yeah,
here.
We'll wrap up our Drew conversation with this. He was asked about Marvin Harrison Jr. and how he's evaluated the rookie's play.
Yeah, I think he's doing a nice job. I think he's put himself in position to make plays. I think I got to do a better job of giving him that opportunity, maybe more throughout the game. And obviously, when you play 11 plays in a game, you're not necessarily going to have the opportunity the way it was designed for. But pleased with where he's at, and certainly we always want to get better.
We're trying to get better every day here on PHNX Cardinals. Drop a like on this video. We got a bunch of super chats to read. We're going to keep the conversation going right around the corner on PHNX Cardinals. But first, I want to tell you about our friends at Game Time. You can get in the game right now. Cardinals hosting the Chargers Monday Night Football, $21, which if you're doing the math at home, using the bonus code PHNX on your newly created Game Time account, it's going to cover all but a single dollar if you want to get in the building. And again, Game Time, your premier ticketing app. I'm looking at it right now. Arizona State women's volleyball. We got Suns preseason tickets, $28. Northern Arizona football, Grand Canyon basketball. We got women's and men's basketball. Just exhibition games. How about Arizona State?
Now, right?
Arizona State basketball right now, the opener on November 5th, $2. Get you in the building. See some college basketball. How about that? Premier ticketing app right now is going to hook you up. Again, PHNX is the bonus code, $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Terms and conditions apply. Again, when you create the account, redeem the code. Go to redeem PHNX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it, Bo? It's game time.
If you're not making the trip with us to Miami, why not still go check out our friends over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, Wild Horse Pass, maybe Vequiva, Lone Butte, Santan Mountain. All four of those locations are unbelievable. You'll achieve legendary status on each and every one of them. You do you over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Lounge with their AAA 4-diamond resorts. Let relaxation take charge. Unbeatable desert and mountain views. You walk into any one of those facilities, it's beautiful. It's clean. It's unreal as far as the table games they have, sports books, everything's there for you to have a blast. How about 4,500 slots, live table games? Catch all the action at any of those sports books. They'll be hosting events all year long, cards games, as we're doing every away game outside of our little trip to Miami coming up here for the Dolphins game. Plus, Suns watch parties are right around the corner. Stay tuned for more info on it. You can come hang out with the entire PHNX crew. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playGila.com for more details.
$2 for tickets. I mean, that sounds like that place is going to be electric. You got to respect ASU fans and their passion. You really
do. Wow. I did want to point out, Damon was fortunate enough to meet up with our guy Robert yesterday. If you were the show involved with was it the Gila River tribe there?
Yeah. We had there was a little celebration here at the Arizona Center for Indigenous Peoples Day, and
awesome.
I was going down and I bought a nice, nifty new Cardinals sticker, and I was trying to tell them about our show and just maybe get some free pub for their artwork. And as I was discussing it, my guy Rob overheard me and was like, "I listen to PHNX all the time." Awesome. And I said, "Oh, what show do you listen to?" And he said, "Bo Brack and Johnny Venerable, baby." And I was like, "Nice to meet you. I'm Damon, Dawg." And we had a good little conversation.
What show do you listen to? Is there any other show? Yes, we have many shows on this fine network. Thank you, Robert, in all seriousness.
I think we can confirm, though, that it was the order that he said it.
I think that's debatable.
He was a Bo Brack guy, first and foremost, for sure.
I got stopped at Queen Creek Trader Joe's, and somebody came up to me and said they were a big Bo Brack guy, and I wanted to throw up. I wanted to pull Ronnie Perkins right there. I'm like,
"Sir, let me buy my JoJo's in peace."
That's right. Can I just get my gluten-free pizza alone, please? Talking about Bo Brack after hours. 25 super chats. Let's get to them. Joey Kennedy kicking us off, $1.99. Bo, any reason to hope that the Arizona Cardinals are buyers, not sellers, but buyers at the trading deadline?
No, not at the current moment. Not a draft and develop team is going to go out there and buy at the deadline and give up valuable draft assets for a team that is under 500, and they got to win the next 2 games before the trade deadline to get to 500.
Bang, $4.99. This franchise is so unserious with Julian Okora starting on my team. Did I write this? What have we done to deserve this, Bo? We got a group of losers as our front seven. That might be a little extreme. How about this? They're losing games with this front seven, and I will never put. It's not on the players. They're taking a contract. They're taking a role. Dennis Gardeck's taking a job. It's on Monti Ossenfort. Like I really appreciate what Monti Ossenfort does in the draft, and I liked his draft and development mentality and cleaning up what he got here. He has not shown an ability, in my opinion, to add supplemental resources that'll impact this team in free agency. He's failed on that front, in my opinion.
You think it's just got to all be about the front seven next offseason, right? I mean, it's just got to be one after the other.
I'm sorry. Is this 2023? Are we having this conversation in October 2023? We've been saying that for over a year. He's lost my trust. Not that he wants it. I don't know if he can land premier players in free agency.
Let's keep it going here. Mac Daddy with the super chat, $4.99. Overreacting. I feel like I'm at the point with Drew where I was with Cliff when he left. I want to be proven wrong. I want misdirection, and I want K1 boots.
You got K1 boots 2 weeks ago. I think Drew has no choice but to figure it out. The thing with Cliff is he was your head coach, and he called the plays. You're going down with that ship for better or worse. Drew's got some heat on him, so we'll see how he reacts. Chaz, $1.99. Bo, this show is therapeutic for grieving fans.
Well, that's what we try to be. When we let your voice be heard, and if you want to scream and shout about this team, or if you want to take a different approach, whatever it is, we got something for everybody here. How about our guy, is this Woke Bro, Easton, saying, I'm a little concerned about the immediate impact, but if you get him for a 6th-round pick, I don't care. Worth it to me. I'm with you on that, Easton.
The Jets, what? You're going to have to let the Jets save face on this to some degree.
You're talking about, you don't want to be a charity. You're not being a charity for the Jets. They just traded a 3rd-round pick for Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
It's got to be significantly lower than a guy who's actually contributing to a team right now.
Scrub McGrub. Yeah. A guy who's not playing right now. I agree with that. I think, again, we're on the same page in terms of they should acquire. Miles, $5. What would the locker room look like handling this trade? Trading the heartbeat of this franchise for a guy who's with offseason drama and hasn't played a down in months. I don't really see the downside of trading a player that's going to be a free agent that doesn't play a premium position on a defense that's already not performing well. I'm sorry. This is a business. I'm all for the human side of football and thinking about personalities and players and families, but we do this show because we want the Arizona Cardinals to turn this around and win games. I'm the status quo. We might as well just put a big L on our forehead. I'm never going to just be, let's just keep doubling down on what's not working. And if your argument is, well, Budda's not the problem, he's also not the solution right now either. So again, go out and try to find a solution. Help your team. Play young players.
I agree with our guy Miles. I think that it's a very tough precedent to kind of start and set with this when it's all been about culture building, and then you go and you pull a move like this, and a guy who wouldn't even, entertain the previous culture that he was traded into. So Daniel, $4.99. There's no hope this season that proves Reddick is the player he was 2 years ago. There's no tape. Sorry, there's no tape this season.
Are we just going to discount he had 11 sacks last year on a Nick Sirianni, Jonathan Gannon less team? Do you think he forgot how to rush the passer?
He did against the Cardinals last year. He was a non-factor in that game.
I think that team had just kind of given up, though.
Oh, was he a player that gave up? You want that type of player on your team?
I want talented players.
But at what cost, Johnny? What cost? The 90s Poppy.
Let's get all the scrubs. I refuse to give up as a fan trade for Crosby. I'm not team trade for Crosby because I think they need much more than that. I'm not giving up 5 years of control in the first round.
Yeah. MP 199. Bears are coming soon. Bear down.
Justin Fields, MP. Bear down.
Brandon Kim 199. In JV, I trust. Do it. It's Rabbits time. 100% genius.
Couldn't agree more.
Some people often describe Johnny as a genius.
It's like the guy who called me Jesus yesterday. Football Jesus. Easton Woke Bro is back. Johnny, you have me sold on trading Budda. Well. Welcome, friend. Taking a shot at Haason Reddick is greater than 11 games. Budda retirement tour with a 7-10 season included. It may not even be 7-10. They're on pace to win 6 games with the current status quo, and they're losing defensive linemen every day. Again, like you want to let's put a scrapbook together of Budda's box scores from the last 11 games. This defense can't stop anybody. Like again, I'm all for honoring players and treating them well.
You're not?
Monti Ossenfort, go up to him, shake his hand, and say, "We're gonna move you to the Jets. It's not Jacksonville. You're gonna go compete there. We're bringing in some pass rush help."
No, nobody's that. Oh, send me outside of Devontae Adams because he's reuniting with Aaron Rodgers. Nobody's been like, "Hey, send me to the Jets." That's the organization of stability and where I can go flourish. Like Bill Belichick was just roasting them on Monday Night Football and talking about how they barely win 30% of their games.
No, well, do what you got to do.
Hey, Budda, hey man, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Thank you for your service. Here's a watch and enjoy New Jersey.
Oh God, can we not? Like
Reezy baby, $5. We have played one team under 500. Bears have played one team with a winning record. Schedule is lightening up. Bet Cards over Bears for playoffs. Sorry, MP. I like the pushback there.
I don't know about that. Daniel, $4.99. Isaiah Simmons has done more for the Cardinals this season than any Cardinals front seven player. Daniel, you sweet man. You are 100% correct. Isaiah Simmons helped the Cardinals by knocking off Seattle a couple weeks ago
on special teams.
Yep, he's a special teams ace.
Yeah,
Blow Brack, friend of the program, $5. Yes, trade one of our best defensive guys for a guy who's even guaranteeing that he'll play a snap unless he gets paid. I want whatever JV's high on. Here's what I'm not high on: winning. I'm high on losing. I'm a fan of a losing franchise. I'm trying to stir things up. People are calling me like Kime in the chat. I'm not giving away a first round pick for Hollywood Brown, which by the way,
is that Steve Kime on the other? I know he's on an Arizona podcast.
I got a full head.
Is that him?
Thank you. Can I just bring up another point to you?
No.
The Arizona Cardinals last year under Monti Ossenfort did not elect, because they got calls, to trade Hollywood Brown. In hindsight, that was a mistake. Hollywood Brown, huge bust for them. Couldn't even play in the second half of the schedule. I understand like the intent was to help Kyler Murray. Like it's sometimes you got to know when to fold certain cards here. And if guys aren't part of your future and you're losing games with them, what's the point?
Because I think just to play devil's advocate, because I don't disagree with that.
Okay.
Is you've got to keep buy-in in the locker room, especially in seasons like last year. I mean, what do you flip Hollywood for a 4th round pick?
Awesome. And here again,
but what does it do? Like Kyler's like, okay, I'm coming back. At the time, who am I throwing to? I know it was a tremendous disaster as far as that connection when it was short-lived last year. But
I liked at the time not doing it because I thought he would look good with Kyler, and I thought it could help Kyler's confidence. I'm about ready to say, like, I need somebody to list the benefits of keeping a 28-year-old free agent to be safety that you're not re-signing on a team that is projected to win 6 games and has a bottom 5 defense. Like, somebody make that make sense, please. And bigger than just the optics.
Cruz, $4.99. A trade needs to happen. It doesn't have Haason, but it needs to happen.
Cruz, we've been saying that since August, and this general manager is hell-bent on doing nothing.
Blow Brock back $5. Budda requested a trade and still showed up to practice in games. Reddick got traded, held out, requested a trade again, and won't even show up.
Everybody's dogging Reddick. He did come to Arizona. The Cardinals botched his development. He never complained while he was here. He was a tremendous human being. Well, people like me in the media throwing arrows at him because he was played out of position. I think, can we just chalk this up to like, maybe the Jets aren't great communicators either, and let's just let this guy have a fresh start, not with the Jets. That's what I think.
Yanks, $4.99. Excuse me. My boy is a position coach in the league, and he believes no impact free agent want to come to the Cards. What's quality of life when you lose all the time?
I mean, Christian Wilkins went to the Raiders, and they're terrible. I also think like you trade for Haason Reddick, you get a jump start on signing him as a free agent. For if that's the rationale, Yanks, then they might as well quit because they're not going to be able to sign free agents in the offseason. Signing Reddick now, you get Reddick now, and you get Reddick in the next year and the year after that, and then you don't have to force a free agent pass rusher. You have to overpay the version of Bilal Nichols to come rush the passer for you. Congratulations, you get to avoid that disaster 2 years in a row.
Doc XD 199. This was our defensive line conversation. Justin Jones, PFF of 30, Nichols 39, and Fotu, who I brought up, 46.1 at $1 million per year. Is there a big difference between a 30 PFF and a 46 PFF?
I think the common denominator is none of those defensive linemen are good, and the Cardinals sold us on the first two, not the latter, but the first two being good. They were not good.
They didn't even play up to the standards that we had set, and it wasn't high expectations. Like
couldn't have been lower.
Yeah,
it couldn't have been lower.
And didn't really get much out of it. Pedro 499. So sad that my 30 years of life, I've witnessed maybe a handful of Cardinals teams that compete. I'm tired of this, Grandpa. I don't know why it's Kelvin Beacham's fault.
I think change is necessary. I think we're approaching that time of the year where if you keep telling people like trust this process indirectly, like you're going to lose people. Reezy baby, $2. Sean Murphy Bunting in a second for Derek Brown. Unfortunately, Derek Brown is out for the year. He blew something out like a month ago. He's toast. But I love Derek Brown. I would have been all for that. Nobody wants Sean Murphy Bunting, though, not even the Cardinals.
You would have been all for it back in the 2020 draft, right?
Listen, I can't toot my own horn. I did not want Derek Brown, but I also didn't want Isaiah Simmons. I like the offensive players in that draft. I was a Tristan Wirfs guy. Would have
been a nice little pick up there. Who else we got here?
Osmar 102. I don't know what this team is doing, Bo, rebuilding or playoffs. It's a great question. I don't know what this team's identity is. I don't know what their intentions are this year. It's like the guy I told you, this is a perfect example of the Cardinals. It's like the guy in college who's smoking in and out of the dorm room with half the door open. He's doing halvesies. Monti Ossenfort's doing halvesies. Hey guys, we're competing, but not really. We're not going to sign free agents, but also we're not drafting and developing. We're going to start a bunch of veterans that are on expiring deals. Like pick a lane, pick a side. There's no
I
focus.
do feel like they're drafting and developing. They're trying to be detrimental to the as far as throwing guys in too early. Like
how's the development going with this rookie class, right?
I think Max Melton, like you've seen him between him and Rabbit Taylor Demerson, I think that they are on a pretty good trajectory. Let's go with, is it Bootsy? Boosty. Hassan isn't the answer. Not only is he potentially mid, the defense isn't the reason they're losing games. If anything, it's the reason they won 2 games this year. The offense needs to improve. Look, the offense could have put up, obviously way more than they did, but like the games against Washington and Green Bay, like you have to score over 30 to win those football games. That also is an indictment on the defense. But I do agree, like they did put you in a position to win at Detroit, but then they lost you the game in Buffalo.
In total defense right now, they are 27th overall, and they are outside of the Panthers, Rams, and suddenly the Saints, the worst defense in the NFC. They're giving up. This defense is giving up 27 points per game.
But I agree with Bootsy. As far as like Hassan's not going to be the savior here. Reezy baby back into it. Thank you for all your contributions, Reezy, today. As a Hawkeye fan, I know a bad OC when I see one. No, wait. Come on, Reezy. I saw the Hawkeyes put up 40 on Jed Fish's Washington.
They had to get rid of Kirk Ferentz's son. That's why.
That is such a shame, Bo. You hate to see that.
You hate to see the guy who left U of A just get crushed in the Big Ten. Oh, man. Charlie Sinclair, welcome, my friend. Glad to have you in the fold all game week leading up to the Chargers. Legendary post-game podcast incoming when Johnny has to watch Lightning Lad torch the Cardinals D on Monday. Is Lad, he's concussed, isn't he? Is he going to play? Charlie, you can let us know.
I don't.
Didn't Quentin Johnston also tweak an ankle? Like who's their receiver this week?
I mean, I know this isn't everything, but both players are projected points in fantasy right now. Okay. So it's possible that they both play.
I'm going to give Charlie a little recommendation with our friends at Bet365. Whatever J.K. Dobbins over is, it's not high enough. Bo Peterson, $10. When hiring a new head coach, you have to honestly ask yourself if you're fine with losing with this person for the next few years with the expectation of getting better. I don't see it happening with this staff. Well, Bo, to your point, Bo Peterson, they're regressing. They have regressed from where they were last year with superior talent, especially offensively. Defensively, they're on the same trajectory, if not worse. And then offensively, they're worse because they have better talent. And we saw the numbers earlier. Lad McConkey's clear. He's coming back. So
right.
Rainbow
Lad.
I 100% agree with you, Bo.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Peterson,
not always my side.
My true friend, Bo. The only real Bo.
Jason, $10. Thanks, my man. PSA, week 7. Still can't buy our first round picks jersey. Hashtag cards things. Hashtag MHJ. Hashtag get well soon.
Every time I think about the MHJ jersey, I think about Johnny's doctor video where he says, "Pick me up an MHJ jersey." Every single time. It makes me laugh.
Pick me up a paper bag for the post game, a brown paper bag over my face. Joey Kennedy, $199. How about JV for Max Crosby? Straight up. I'm too valuable. Sorry.
I think that's a deal I can get behind.
Honestly, I think Johnny loves this franchise enough where he would absolutely do that. If he would be like, "I'll go cover the Raiders if that means that this pass rush gets Max Crosby."
I don't want to cover the Raiders.
I mean, those would be two huge sacrifices. One from Johnny for his team, and then what about our guy that we're gonna have a statue erected of him today, Matt Prater, going on IR? Let's pay a little tribute to Matty Prates.
Oh God, will he ever play a snap for the car? I think he's done. I think he's he's not done for the year, but he misses 4 games. Unless this other kid.
Crazy. He was close. He was around the Cardinals practice facility, like on the practice field. Like I never got to see him kick or anything like that, but it was something that just the last 2 weeks it seemed like he was close, and now he's IR'd.
Can I ask you a question? Jonathan Gannon, when he talks to the media on Mondays and he says things like, "Yeah, I'll just bump some bruises, nothing serious," and then Bilal Nichols is like out for the year, and the next day, should we not just take anything seriously that they're saying? I think we're at this. Kyle Odegaard tweeted this out. This is Patriot level trolling by this franchise, but the difference is you can have that when you win. Right. The Cardinals lose almost as much as anybody. Right. I don't like this poking the bear and withholding information when you lose games, and then we're signing, practice squad players. I mean, come on now. You have to at least be likable. I don't like the withhold. Everybody's good, except they're not good. Clearly, we've got multiple guys going on IR.
Illa Dre, I don't like this. And Johnny, we trust. Crying, laughing.
I also trust myself. Thank you, Illa Dre. Mike Sabo, $9.99. Bo, who do you think we can get in a trade?
Who do we think we can get in a trade?
Let me pose it to you this way. What's the most likely trade that the Cardinals will be a part in before the trade deadline? Mr. Team Beat reporter.
Yeah, I think they could probably, could you look to Cleveland? And I'm not saying Myles Garrett, what's left on the bone to be vultured by Cleveland, who is now, I think the Browns, they got to lose as many games as possible and then draft the best quarterback in the upcoming draft in order to have any way out of this Deshaun Watson debacle. Could you take somebody from that defensive front 7 and add it to your defensive front 7? That's what I could see.
Well, Zadarius Smith's soon to be free agent. He's okay. But I maybe I didn't emphasize the question. Do you think it's more likely they're buyers or they're sellers at the trade?
No, I thought you asked if.
My fault. I didn't phrase that well enough.
Yeah,
there's a much greater chance they're trading a Budda Baker for a pick than acquiring a player. Do you think that's correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think once it comes down to it, say they're 2-6 by deadline, that would be back-to-back losses to the Chargers and then the Dolphins. Well, it would be 3 straight losses, but at that point, then you have to start looking at it who are veterans that don't project to be with this organization, as far as when they find themselves climbing out of this rebuild. So Budda, JT, who would be, in the eye of suitors that are contenders, who would give them value? I mean, I don't think you touch the offensive line. Playmakers are too young and controllable. So
I think Zay Jones. I think like if somebody wants,
but is there going to be enough tape out there of him 2 games to trade him?
Yeah, you'd have to get a conditional pick. You consider trading James Conner at some point. If you're 2-6, I think all things are on the table. Slime
Gardeck. What do you think about him? Would you trade him?
I don't know if you can afford to trade Dennis Gardeck and his 0 sacks in the last month. Slime Grime, $5. This team needs dogs. It's like they only think good players are supposed to be starters. The 1 through 53 should be the best players you can find. I 100% agree. They have tried to paper mache this front 7, certain parts of this team with some jags, just the guys. Like you have an alpha and Budda Baker in their secondary, and that's why everybody is nervous about trading him. What's the equivalent of Budda Baker, or even 3/4 of Budda Baker on your defensive line? It does not exist on this team, and they didn't actively go and pursue that. I'll give Mac Wilson credit. Like, he's a dog. Kazir White, he's a dog. Your most vulnerable spot, you opted to go, in my opinion, kind of soft outside of Darius, but it's not your fault. Darius is hurt.
Doc XD $4.99. Only rooks that seem to be developing properly are DDT or DDD and Melton, and that's probably because they're DBs with Gannon coaching them. Other than that, not looking good. Well, I mean, I still have a lot of hope for Marv. Darius, when he gets healthy, there's 4 guys that you have to feel confident about. I thought Isaiah Adams looked fine in his snaps that he played on Sunday. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit better than that.
Tip does his job. It's not his fault that he got drafted where he got. Did
you see that catch he made?
He's unbelievable.
I mean, 4 yards.
Generational talent.
Don't. Come on.
He's got 1 target and 1 catch. Talk about stepping up when your number's called.
Let's talk about a gross use of a premium draft pick when your front 7 is USFL worthy. Alex Mann, $5 super chat. If Cards went out and got guys like Uche or Aziz, would that be something Johnny can get behind? 100%. They're young talents. And do you want a proven commodity? I want different, not practice squad barf bag guys from a year ago. I want like guys with some talent. But the problem is, it's like, why are the Giants going to do that? Alex, those are moves that should have been done in August. The minute you lost B.J. Ojulari,
what happened with Josh Uche? Like, why he signed for like $3 million, didn't he? To stay.
You and I were at the stadium, and Ojulari was hurt.
Yeah.
But see, now everybody has a cop out. They're like, well, it's too late. 6 games in. You might as well ride it out. Your fault for doing that. Kyler Plummer just sends some support. $1.99. I appreciate that. And then LVL7 throwing some shade at Bo. Bo, you got to stop asking soft questions. You and the rest of the media, big softies.
We'll step it up next time. I'll tell you what, Craig was asking some great questions there. So I'll step my game up, LV7. But we got to give some credit to our guy.
Craig Morgan is a dog. Craig Morgan, literally, we're on a 3-way text chain, or a 4-way. Damon's on there too. And he's texting us about a strategy for Petzing's conversation today, and talking about what are some good probing questions. No one else in the media is doing that. Strategizing from Craig's part to get the answers that you see, then the accountability from Drew Petzing. Like, I know there's some media going around today locally here, and people are maybe starting to lose faith in certain entities based on their reactions to certain things. I'm just going to leave it at that. This podcast, and to a greater extent, Craig Morgan writing articles for this podcast, you're getting cutthroat information. This is not cupcake patty cake time with PHNX Cardinals beat at gophnx.com. Accountability. Yeah. And it's not accountability where you're just throwing things out there, a la some other outlets that are talking about Gannon getting fired. This is real journalism being done by Craig Morgan at gophnx.com.
Yeah. He's a killer.
That's right. Tip of the cap to our guy who just dropped a great article with a lot of the insight that he received from today's press conference. I highly recommend you check it out. GoPHNX.com. 3rd down efficiency and scoring, why they're down the last 4 weeks. Vertical passing game, why it's vanished. And Marv, often an afterthought, some plays play calls seem odd. So our guy Craig Morgan, as we are outlining here, get into the middle of it with Petzing today, and that article is live. Go PHNX.com.
We got 1,200 people watching on a Tuesday. Hit that like button. If you're on Twitter, we beg of you, come over to YouTube, hit that like button. It helps the show exponentially. Drop a comment down below, not in the live chat, but in the comments, and tell us if you're pro trading for Haason Reddick and what your package would look like, or if you think the Cardinals should build in a different way. We want to hear about it in the comments below, Bo.
Let's we got the poll results.
I don't think.
Yeah, I believe it ended. I ended a minute ago, but I think it ended at 56% no. So no ended up winning out, but it had over 220 votes on it total.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if you run that poll on a post game after this team struggles like they have been, it will be very different. It's fresh in their mind.
Would you trade the heart and soul of this defense for a guy who hasn't shown up to work in 6 months?
Yes.
After a post game, it's gonna get people then.
You really watched that game on Sunday and you're like, these guys are untouchable. These guys are untouchable, man. Oh yeah, baby.
And that's not my point at all. It's not my point at all.
The defense that couldn't stop a nosebleed. Guys, this 28-year-old safety on a contract year. It's the Marvin Harrison Jr. say no offseason package. 3 firsts isn't enough. That's how I feel.
Johnny, you weren't there, but it was actually right after Christian Watson hit that post for the touchdown on Budda. Bo turned to me and said, Budda's got to be on this team for the next 10 years. We can never lose this guy.
Resign him right now. Make him the highest paid safety. I love Budda. He's been a great Cardinal. He deserves Hall of Fame votes. Put him in the Ring of Honor. Like, you're trying to turn over a new corner of winning, and you're not winning right now. Help yourself. Monti Ossenfort, I beg you. We got 1,100 people watching. Help the Cardinals get better today. Don't wait until March. Do it now.
Also, what you should do right now and become a diehard, go PHNX.com. You get free merch from the PHNX locker, one of many great perks. You get that membership card. You get access to all our premium written content, and you get that exclusive entrance to the Discord lounge, discounts on all the events. Diehard level access. That's what it's all about. 1,100 of you that are enjoying this right now. Let the good times keep rolling 24/7 by becoming a diehard today. You could use your free merch on this beautiful 18 collection right here, Maserati Marv. Kid loves that one because there's a car on it. You got the math one, 1 + 18 = 6, and then the MHJ celebratory tee. They're all legit. They could be free if you just become a diehard today.
Everybody hit that like. Let's get this show to 500 likes here on a football Tuesday. And everybody go to your mobile phone, your smart device, go to your podcast feed now, type in PHNX Cardinals. If you're so inclined, if you like what you see here, hit that like, follow button and leave us a review. It helps exponentially. We're coming off our biggest month ever in September. It's because of all of you. We're doubling down here in the month of October, wins or not from this team. But this was a big winning show today, Bo. I appreciate your professionalism, my friend.
Likewise, my guy. It's always fun to get down and dirty with some debate, and you brought it today. Thanks for dusting off the old Johnny Venerable trade machine.
Yeah, it was a big hit.
44% of people they're with you.
I think we want some winning, and I think to get some winning, you got to get some change. We're not changing it up on our Wednesday show. We got Brian Baldinger on the docket manana, and unfortunately for me, we unveil hold or fold the lines through 5 weeks of the NFL season, 6 weeks. I may or may not be 0 for 6 on hold or fold the line. I don't know. Those numbers seem skewed. Might be a little bit of fake news in there. Like this video. For Bo, Brack, Damon, Dawg, I'm Johnny Venerable. We're back on Wednesday. See you then.
We all silly like the mayor.